You're taking a pill every day, maybe 2, maybe 10. And at some point, almost everyone asks the same question. Do I really need to be on this medication forever? Today, we're going to break down something patients rarely get explained clearly. Some medications are truly lifelong, some are temporary, and some were meant to be stopped, but people forget to circle back and stop them at the end of the day. This episode is about understanding why you're on a medication, how long it's usually needed, and when it should be reevaluated, so always with your doctor's involvement.
You're listening to Rated RX. Your dose for the day.
I'm Xavier Hill. I'm here with Robbie Abbasi and Sam Lona, and we are Pharmacists, the Rated RX Pharmacists, to be clear. And you're listening to Rated RX's Trending Health Questions Breakdown. So here we dive into topics that people are searching online. Once again, Rated RX is a proud affiliate of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow the show there as well and wherever else you're listening. One quick but very important disclaimer before we start. This podcast is for education purposes only. Never stop, start, or change a medication without the supervision of your doctor. Stopping certain medications suddenly can be dangerous or even life-threatening. So we said it at the beginning. Don't y'all, say we ain't said.
They're
But we're gonna talk about.
You've been warned.
You've been warned. Okay, so we're gonna talk about this. So let's get into this. So Robbie, when patients say, "I want to get off my meds," what do you think they're actually asking?
Well, I don't think they're actually asking anything. I think they're telling you they want to get off their meds. But what I'm thinking is going on is that, obviously taking medications is a big burden. Sometimes you have to sort of schedule your day around things, and no one really wants to be on a medication the whole time. And maybe they didn't tell them when they can get off this medicine. So they're seeking, Xavier, your advice to find out what they can do about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're just wanting to move on. Let's figure out what we need to be doing with this. Yeah, who knows how long they've been on it? Haven't been to the doctor in years. What am I even taking this for? They might have even forgot. Who knows what's going on there?
Exactly. People just want a plan, right? And that's where healthcare sometimes fails. Meds get started, but no one explains the exit strategy, if there even is one, right? They just started. All right, you're on this forever. All right. So the big framework, there are 3 types of medications, okay? So we're going to simplify this into 3 buckets, okay? So the first bucket, we have medications that are lifelong. The second bucket, we have medications that depend on the disease control or improvement in the disease. And the third bucket, this will be your temporary medications, right? So once patients understand what area of or what class of medication that they're on, that'll change everything for them. They have a better understanding, like, oh, I need to take this forever. Oh, this one should be stopped. So we're just going to give y'all ideas of types of medications in each of these buckets. All right, so first we'll go over medications that are often lifelong. All right, so we're going to start with the hardest truth. Some medications must be taken forever.
Forever.
Forever. But these medications, they basically have to be taken forever because they replace something that you need in your body or physically, or they protect something that your body can no longer do. Sam, do you have any examples of these types of medications?
I mean, the first one that immediately pops to mind is always type 1 diabetes. People think diabetes and it's like, oh yeah, you're taking some pills and things, but type 1 being different, where you're pretty much cannot produce anything for your insulin, and it's just pancreas is not functioning, not doing what we want, and you just absolutely need it to function. So if you don't have it, you will not survive. That's pretty much the definition of what you were talking about. So type 1 diabetes definitely need their insulin on the reg. Robbie, any thoughts for you?
Thyroid hormone therapy is a big one, especially if you had your thyroid removed. We're basically supplementing it with, the missing thyroid that you don't have anymore. Me working in the behavioral health setting, the big two, people with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, those medicines are lifelong too,
But Doc,
unfortunately.
I'm feeling great now.
Why do you feel great?
You don't have a thyroid anymore.
Doc, there's no mood swings. I'm good to go. What are you talking about? Let's get off this med.
If only it were that simple.
So yeah, more examples of that. Same thing of with the thyroid. Any organ removal, that's something required in there. Transplants, same schizophrenia. Add in like seizure meds, along with that. Replacements, anticoags, any sort of heart replacement, valve replacement, all sorts of things that, it is a small pill. You are feeling better. You're not sure why we're doing this, or you're getting side effects, but some of them you do need to have, unfortunately.
Right. Well, I mean, you guys are right. That's a good list of medications that you have to take long term. And these are your support system, right? They're here to make sure you're around, you're functioning semi normal or back close to normal, right? It's replacing that function that you no longer have. And it's often lifelong. Okay. So please take these medications for sure. If your doctor tells you it's a lifelong medication, these are the ones we definitely want you to take, because if you don't take it, you might not have a life anymore. So
What if I saw this TikToker that says, I can take this other thing instead of my diabetes medication, or I'll see some of these supplements for my thyroid.
Are they trying to sell you the supplement?
It's real cheap though. It's real cheap supplements.
Yeah.
There's a flash sale going on.
You know what's not cheap? A hospital stay from not taking your med.
exactly. Always consult with your doctor to see if something can be a replacement for something else. Sometimes those supplements don't quite do everything that you need, they don't do it at all.
Dude, they don't do shit. Let's be real here.
I'm trying to be nice to the supplement lovers.
No, dude, they're the biggest scam. We don't have to be nice here.
So yeah, like Robbie said, supplements are a big no-no. Lifelong medications, yes. All right, so that leads us to our next bucket of medications. And these are, the more common medications that people are on. And they may end up being lifelong as well. But these medications depend on the control of the disease state, right? And if you can get full control over it again, you may be able to cut back on it, maybe a lower dose, maybe get off of it completely, but it's something that you definitely have to monitor to make sure, it doesn't worsen again. So these medications are medications for blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol. These are very important medications, but if you're doing the right things and you really improve your health, you might be able to get off some of these. So Robbie, tell us a little bit more about what's important with this.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier, you already said it pretty well. It's to help get things back in control and largely prevent a bigger thing that could potentially happen. Having high blood pressure, uncontrolled diabetes, bad cholesterol, that could lead to things like a heart attack or a stroke, right? And ideally, starting these medicines will help you get back on track. But if you try to do the right things with lifestyle adjustments, diet, exercise, getting enough sleep, managing your stress, ideally you can stop it if you have it under control.
Yeah, I have a perfect example of this. I have a family member who was exercising and dieting, but she didn't want to take medications, right? So she thought that her exercising and dieting was enough, but then she had a stroke, right? So it's very important to, even if you're exercising and dieting, you want to make sure that everything's under control, because you may need additional medications to help. The exercise and dieting might always not be enough. So please work with your doctors to make sure these numbers are under control before you even consider stopping.
Yeah, age and genetics can't beat that, no matter how much exercise you do, right?
Time always wins, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I think the drug that came to mind, kind of you were saying, is probably the most common, fluoxetine, or any of the SSRIs, things that we're looking for behavioral or mood changes, where, it can take at least a month to even really get effective. And so people are looking for, here's my 1 week, or let me just get out of this funk kind of things. They take time to rewire your brain, get those receptors firing. That is probably the most common thing I see, or always reminding people, hey, it's going to take you 4 6 weeks. Let's not just have a month and then say this is a failure, 2 weeks and say this is a failure. Got to give it a little time, and then, as you guys are saying, you got to be consistent. You got to stay on that med. Yes, that's one that you can come off of at some point. Once you talk to your doctor, and usually some of those you're tapering down on them when you come off. But you gotta give the meds time, even though it might seem like it's just doing small little things, not making much difference. Got to give it a shot there. 6 months, 2 years, however long it takes. Talk to your doctor, and yeah, you can come off of them, but sometimes they can be a little longer than you're expecting.
Exactly, Sam. You got to make sure those labs are back in order or under control for long periods of time. Those blood pressures, the trend, everything is trending in the right direction and it stays there and stable for a long time. I mean, a lot of times the medications are what's helping that too. So, but that's the only time that dose reductions or de-prescribing can be considered under the supervision of your doctor. So, like those may end up being lifelong, but if you're on the right track, able to stabilize things, you may be able to get off of those medications. Now we're going to move on to our final section, and these are medications that are meant to be temporary. And this is where pharmacists like to step in and try to help stop some medications and de-prescribe because we see a lot of problems here. Sam, what meds do people accidentally stay on for much longer than they need?
I would say the most common one that I'll see are things like omeprazole, proton pump inhibitors. People have heartburn. It's real. It's not fake, and they take it, and it helps them. They feel better, so they just keep taking it, and then it's just okay. I think this meal might hurt. I'm gonna preemptively take this, and they just start going twice a day, every day for months and months. And you can do it. You can do it for a while. Long term, you just run into risks. You get bone densities can have problems. You can have infection problems, stomach issues that you were trying to fix in the first place. So I think it's um, something that you're just trying to help yourself. You're just feeling better, and you just keep going on it, and it ends up something that you didn't really need to be on that whole time.
Yeah, and sometimes people might get stuck on antibiotics, just gets forgotten. Pharmacy sends a refill without anyone really asking what's going on. Doctor refills it. So sometimes people get stuck on antibiotics where they shouldn't be on. We see the same thing with sleeping meds. I think a big one that people tend to get stuck onto are seasonal allergy medications. That stuff is easy over the counter. Don't
Just
need a
keep clearing
prescription
up
for
that
it.
nose. We're good to go.
Exactly. And then winter comes along, snow comes, it kills everything. You don't need your seasonal allergy med anymore, but people still continue to take it. And while it's great, you don't have the allergies, and you're probably thinking to yourself, like, "Oh, this is working. I don't have any allergies." It's an environmental thing. So um, sometimes people get stuck on that as well.
Yeah, and don't forget about steroids. Sometimes people will end up on steroids way too long. A lot of these medications are designed for short courses, and long-term use can have serious side effects over time. If no one has ever revisited some of the medications you're on, that's a problem, right? You want to make sure your medications are revisited often. So make sure if there's stuff you don't need anymore, we want to get that stopped. So y'all probably tired of taking all these pills and you're getting full before you even eat your breakfast. So some of these medications that can be stopped, we want them stopped. Moving on, we want to talk a little bit about why you just can't stop your own medications. Because I got a lot of people that just go out there like, I ain't taking that no more. They just stop it. Then they end up in the hospital because they stopped all their meds. And then we got to figure out, we got to get you back in shape, start everything, and get you feeling better again. So, I mean, this is pretty crucial. Some medications cannot be stopped abruptly, like right away. You get issues with that. Robbie, you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, stopping stuff can cause a rebound and symptoms, make things far worse than before. Uh, we talked about the omeprazole, those PPIs. That's something they're taking long term and then just stop. They can rebound, have terrible heartburn. Beta blockers, we don't want to just stop that on your own. Antidepressants, You'll have some crazy rebound and just be super anxious. Benzodiazepines are a big one, especially if you've been up for a very long time, might rebound and cause seizures. So if these are things you've been on for a while, don't just stop it on your own. Work with a qualified healthcare provider, whether that's a pharmacist or your physician.
Yeah, I get that conversation asking sometimes, as a pharmacist, as you're saying, they're calling in and asking about it. And, maybe at this point you are just doing a refill for a patient. But, them checking in, it's like, hey, what is this, using for? You're able to, the drug, this is a steroid, why you might be using it. It's like, oh yeah, that's been cleared up for, 6 months or something like that. It's like, yeah, we don't need to be keep doing this, or some of the antibiotics still, doing it or doing periodic dosings. I know we all love that. I'll just take it once a week, see if that helps or anything. So Xavier's favorite, but definitely starts with a conversation, and usually your pharmacist has, they don't have your full chart usually, but can have some insight on what this med's being used for, and if it could help you either something changed or not even needing to be on this, but that could be a good start. But it's always down to your physician, your provider that can you can have that conversation with on getting down on some of those meds.
That's a great point you bring up, Sam. Having a conversation with the doctor. So, how can we help our patients out? Like, what questions should they ask to get that conversation started if they're thinking about stopping a medication or if they don't need it anymore? Just trying to clarify it, why they're taking it and how long they need to take it.
I mean, they could ask their physician what was the original reason this medication was prescribed and how their current condition is when you compared to when you first started it. Just start triggering that conversation.
Yeah, if it's getting better, if it's gone, if it's still there, it's getting worse. We're all looking one way, but realizing that a dose could be a dose change, not just coming off of a med. But hey, we need to bump this up a little bit. Something that we can knock out. We've been talking about steroids. Maybe it's been on a long time, and changing to a different steroid for a short course, and that wipes something out for them. It's like, oh yeah, we just needed a conversation to adjust something for that patient care. But coming off of it, Xavier, what should I be monitoring? What should I look at if I want to be off this med to help me? So having some control as a patient on knowing that you're kind of part of this uh, health that you're moving through.
Yeah, and us being pharmacists, we're very accessible to the public and we have an idea of what medications are lifelong or should be continued, or which ones may be shorter term. You can always double check with your doctor too. But come talk to us. Some of the questions will be easier. Some of them will be like, oh yeah, you want to talk to your doctor about this one to see if you can stop it or if you should stop it. But we'll never tell you to stop it without your doctor, your doctor's permission, right? Because we often see, the entire medication picture across multiple prescribers, 'cause we can kind of see what's going on and help you guys figure things out.
There
All
can be
right.
times we might tell you to stop your med, but that's
Yeah,
usually followed up by, okay,
go
you
to the
need
ER.
to go to, to see the doctor right now.
Yeah, if it's killing you right now, we'll probably tell you to stop taking
Gave you an anaphylactic reaction? What?
it.
We could probably tell you to stop that one.
So, here's the reality of everything. Lifestyle changes are the major things, the most powerful things that can kind of help you get off medications, but it doesn't override your biology. If you don't have the organ and you need what that organ produces, you need that medication.
Yeah, and everyone's a little different too. So even people that are young in shape, they still have high cholesterol. We don't always know the reason, which is why even when you're younger, still do your checkups, get some blood work because you could look completely fine and something's going on in there. It's always good to make sure with your health.
Yeah, and the goal isn't necessarily zero medications. It's just ideally the least amount of medications, the right dose for the right reason. But ideally, you're optimizing that little therapy as possible, but maximizing those lifestyle changes so you don't have to be on so many medications as well.
Wonderful, Robbie. And with that, we'll wrap it up, guys. So once again, don't forget, some medications are lifelong, and that's okay. Some depend on how we control your disease and if your disease is more controlled. And then some were meant to be stopped, but we forgot to stop them. Okay. So the answer isn't to be afraid or to rebel against your doctors. We're all here working together. We want to educate you. This is a partnership between the patient and your healthcare providers. We want the best for you, and we're going to work hard to get you there. If this episode helped you think a little bit differently about your medications, be sure to subscribe, share with a friend that you care about, and remember, never stop or change a medication without medical supervision. I said it 5 times, so if y'all do it, it's on y'all. Lastly, your pharmacist is one of the most successful healthcare providers and professionals that you have. Please use us, stay informed, stay empowered. We'll see you next time.
Rated RX, you do